Ladies, gentlemen, and MVs, welcome to Valpo's League of Legends esports team. I'm your host, Dikembe, dressed up as Johnny Cage to celebrate Halloween, right? Having a little fun here. And this is my co-host.
Henry Speedy Killer Ninja. I feel a little bit out of it today. I mean, no Halloween costume. Dikembe showing up, looking good today. Final game of the regular season
Yep.
versus Bethel, who's 7-1. But so this is gonna be a good matchup.
No, definitely. I mean, we have a great matchup ahead of us right now. Pretty early game too. I mean, we're getting it rolling pretty early in the Saturday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as we hop in the draft here, right? Taking a look at it, Valpo keeping the bans pretty simple. You got the Ziggs, you got the Kaisa. Bethel hopping with the Talia and the Aurelion Soul, targeting Jakimbo in that mid lane there. Jakimbo playing remote today, although we miss his presence in the lab. Definitely not going to miss his presence on the Rift, as he's probably going to have a huge impact. When we talk about kind of our last path, or excuse me, when we talk about our past games against Bethel, a lot of the times we work that kind of mid to bot side, right? Um, and once we kind of get that advantage, that's usually where we play off of. So I'm excited to see how Valpo is going to actually take this game forward. But finishing off with two ADC bans with the Kaisa and the Zaya, and Bethel just going straight three mid lane, trying to get as many bans as they can, but that's going to leave Jinx to be first picked for Valpo Esports.
Like we saw on Monday and maybe even Wednesday, this blue side for Valpo first pick Jinx, it's so strong in the meta right now. Jacob does a great job of just farming up, getting to that 2-3 item, and his position in team fights, able to spit out that damage. So I really like the B1 Jinx here.
Definitely, I think it fits our comp perfectly. But I mean, you have the Jinx now. Bethel is forced to just choose a couple of people that will be able to force flashes, be able to jump on her quick, and I mean J4 fits that kind of perfectly. Um, I like the blind J4. I think it's a pretty strong pick if you're talking about jungle here, especially because Valpo left a lot of the junglers open. So if you need someone to start engages, you need someone to kind of start your draft around, I think J4 is a great pick. And they're going to pick up the Tristana.
Ooh.
Okay. Going to flex the Tristana.
Okay.
I actually really like that. It depends on what Bethel is looking for a counter support now, right? Um, if you can pick up a counter support against Valpo, if Valpo decides to draft early here, obviously the Thresh is open. We have Shadow Spark in for the first game. Um, you might have the Thresh. You're gonna pick up the Orianna first round. Okay. And top lane first round. Let's go, Valpo. All right. You pick up the mid lane, you pick up the top lane. Both blinding here, but you're stopping them from getting banned out. I think you
Yeah.
kind of know what you want to play here. You don't want to wait for that R4 or R5 ban. You just pick it now. You have the confidence to go, especially because Bethel's already used two of their spots. They're really only going to get one decent counter, and then Valpo has two options to ban out
Wow.
whoever they want. Wow,
Wow.
okay. They're not they're just gonna draft support. They're gonna blind it anyways.
I love it from Bethel. So Valpo, once again, we're seeing it like we do 99% of the time, going for that late game team fighting. But Bethel kind of just doubling down on this early game with the Pike. I mean, Tristan is very strong early game. The Oriana pick, you other than Flash, you got to be really careful in that mid lane. Tristana able to jump on you, Pike able to run mid, J4, very good ganks level 3 and 4. So Valpo definitely going to have to be very careful in the early game here, as so far, like if we get to that 20-25 minutes, like we're in an extremely good spot. But Bethel with a very surprising draft, and I really like to see it. I mean, they're gonna come out firing in the first couple minutes of this game for sure.
And I think that's the best way to attack Valpo, right? We've
Yeah,
talked about their scaling a lot of the times and how, it's one of our strongest team fights. So if Bethel wants to get this early lead, they're going to jump out now, right? And like you said, they're playing super aggressive early. You can have a three camp Jarvan, you have Tristana Pike take level 2, and you have it already all the engage that you need. So,
yeah,
like you said as well, taking the Oriana mid lane, not much mobility left for Valpo in that mid lane. Jakimbo's going to have to play smart with a roaming Pike, right? It's going to be up
yeah.
to kind of that communication of, all right, Pike is not in lane, right? If Pike is not in lane, realistically every laner has to play at least a little bit safe because that's by far his best thing.
With the roaming boots and his W, he can be everywhere so fast too.
Yep.
I think with the bans and then with the support pick, Tristan is definitely looking to be in the bot lane here, as can be flex mid a little bit, but with the Pike pairs really well and the Azir ban coming out. Poppy top.
Yep.
So
All right. Um, Poppy Top pretty good in the Ornn, right? I'd say.
Yeah,
Orn,
solid.
yeah, Orn has just, his one combo that he kind of likes to work around in that top lane. So Poppy shuts that down. You don't get the knock up, you get knocked back. Um, it's pretty solid. And not to mention, Poppy is just insanely strong right now. I feel like it's really hard to fight her early. It's really hard to kill her late. Um, she's just in a really good spot in our meta right now. But Valpo gonna pick up the Sejuani as well as the counter to that Jarvan. Um, you have a lot of level 4 presence. You get a ton of tankiness, especially early. And Valpo going to go a bit of counter engage here. Looks like they're hovering the Braum. I like that. All right. So Valpo understands that, hey, you guys are going to fight early, right? You guys are going to fight a ton early. So we are going to pick up a super tanky comp with 2 heavy scalers,
Yeah,
right?
this is definitely not uncharted waters for
Yeah,
Valpo. We see,
this is kind
I
of
don't
our
know, we
MO.
might have seen the exact same comp on Monday.
Yeah,
So,
I think the only difference was Braum. I think
yeah.
everything else was
Oh, and
drafted
the
pretty
Silas
same.
got some really good ults to take.
All right,
So,
yeah. Um, I like it. You have, like you said, a ton of ults to take. It also gives you a ton of pressure for Orianna because Orianna, best thing obviously is poke. So what Silas can do is punish her insanely hard when she walks up to poke. So Jakimbo can't really take any trades here, or else, you have Silas, you have Pike coming up. It's gonna be really rough for him in that mid lane, but we'll have to
yeah.
see. I mean, you have to talk to me a little bit here about that Sejuani Jarvan setup because we're looking at kind of a weird matchup here. I'd say, especially R4ing the Sejuani, kind of waiting for our team comps to arise before we can pick that out.
Yeah, J4 definitely has more pressure in the early game and early skirmishes, able to gank a little bit earlier, but Sejuani is able to provide some peel and some late game CC and team fights. So I think this is another pick that just looks better for 20 minutes plus for Valpo. But J4 has been strong in the competitive meta pretty much for 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah.
The Silas is the only AP for Bethel, so something to watch out for is he doesn't do a ton of AP damage if he doesn't get fully online. A little bit more mobile in the mid lane, so I'm really expecting maybe looking for some early game dives, building up a wave. Definitely looking for like first Rift, first Dragon for Bethel. But I think they did a really good job of like scouting Valpo, having a game plan going in, and like clearly like this is what they want to do. They're prepared. They want to get ahead early. You know, both of the losses we suffered were from Manchester and Ohio Northern, who both kind of played that early game very strong. And I feel like that's probably the best way to attack Valpo that we've seen so far. Um, so I think we're in store for a very exciting game.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I gotta give credit to Bethel. A lot of the times I feel like in the booth here, I look at drafts where it's like, all right, you pick one off, you do whatever. Bethel felt like you come in, you know what you want to draft, you know what you want to shoot in, and you have a pretty cohesive comp here, especially with, a goal in mind of fighting Valpo early. And like my co-caster Henry said, uh, Valpo has lost both times to teams that fight early, but we're having a quick change in the booth here. Go ahead and introduce yourself now.
Oh, I'm Marceline, but I also am Sabiel on the team. So,
Yep. So we have a quick change of co-casters, but happy to have you here, Marceline. We're probably gonna be. I mean, we have to take a little bit of a look what they're going to take like rune wise. We might have the PTA from Tristana, lethal tempo from her. Um, but otherwise, it's a pretty simple game. Valpo just wants to hit 20 minutes, I feel. Bethel definitely just needs to fight this early. You have Nice thing is you have a ton of ults to seal, right? You have the engage for Sejuani if we're talking like Silas, right? You have the engage for Sejuani. You have a ton of peel as well, but I think Valpo is just gonna have to play this early game safe and not give Pike too much opportunity to roam. But no, we are going to take a quick break here at the start of this draft, and we're gonna wait for the spectator delay, and we will catch you guys at the end of it.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. "30 seconds until minions spawn."
Yeah, it's really for like burst damage even more. Fast kills over long extended team fight. Probably gonna be more of an assassin Tristana.
Put into this conference. They're gonna start it off strong already.
Minions have spawned.
Call me a trailblazer.
Oh,
Sweet.
Joy, you've been
Awesome.
talking the whole time.
Yep. All right. Well, sorry about that, folks. I mean, we were talking about the question I asked Marceline on mic was what the assassin. And never mind, we have a pull in immediately, and starting E on the Tristana might get a full burst out, and that's gonna be Jinx almost dead already. While I was unmiked, I was talking about how they're already gonna start this off strong, trying to get at least an early skirmish, and I think that's exactly what Bethel was looking for here with that aggressive trade. Dreadful walking up a little bit too far and getting pulled by that hook.
Yeah, see, in comps like this, especially against the Pyke, you probably want to have a support mid push bot lane, because that changes.
Yeah, definitely makes sense, and there's a pull as well. The level 2 being hit, looking for the Hail of Braids proc there, just getting a couple of mana, or excuse me, a couple of melee shots. But no, I mean, now, I think, after that level 1 trade, Valpo's in a little bit of a rough spot here. Now you're just looking for a couple more pulls. I mean, mid lane, yeah, makes sense, but we have J4 coming in immediately. Justin really has to play careful here. J4 is still looking for the bait, probably just go in there. You have Vector hovering his Raptors, though, if you need another trade in the top lane as well. Anaya
Pyke roam
taking a
around.
really great trade, but here comes J4 as well, holding on. There's the Pyke, there's the flash as well, but Jakimbo jumps it. The pull over the wall, Sejuani has to flash as well. That's 2 flashes, another pull, and that's going to be first blood for Bethel. I mean, we saw Vector gonna hold up there. There's the Pyke hook. It's gonna go wide though as Justin sidesteps backwards, but I mean, we saw the Pyke roam mid, like we talked about pregame, being insanely strong, and then having at least a little bit of pressure as well from J4. Although Vector was there, Vector gets pulled over the wall, forced to flash and dash. So there's no escape for that Silasy, and here comes Pyke back into the lane. There he is, spotted. I mean, he's just going strong now. He pulls the Braum. Braum's going to jump back to Jinx, and he's just feeling it today.
I also feel like Braum and the Pyke is kind of hard because, yeah, Braum's coming back, but as long as Pyke procs is just like yellow blades on you, it's kind of, yeah.
And there's another pull as well. Gonna stun back. The flash from Dreadful is gonna keep him alive because Tristana jumps in. I mean, the exhaust going out on Tristana as well. That's 2 summoners blown out of this bot lane. And this Pyke is just making such an impact this game.
I get that.
It's a really scrappy top lane. This is what I was talking about. You walk up there, you have to trade. Now this Silas is going to pick up a solo kill in this mid lane as well. I mean, you have no flash out of Jakimbo. Yep. That was kind of what Silas is looking for here. Now Valpo looking really rough in this early game. I mean, this is kind of what we were looking for. Bethel immediately going in as well. The Braum gets pulled back, tries to jump to Jinx, but it's not going to be enough. Sejuani is here, though, gets the stun. Try and get this Pyke. There's the Pyke. The Tristana jumps in, though. Will get the W onto Jinx, kills the Jinx, and now it's just Sejuani versus Tristana, but J4 is here as well to cover. J4 gets the knockup, almost gets the stun, just running out of range, looking for the E. Throws the E out and the dash in. A little bit of a miscalculation from Tristana, as that's going to be another solo kill for Vector. Vector picking up 1 here. J4 jumps in, probably going to go down there as well. Gets the level up off the kill, and J4 finishes it off. It's going to be a 3 for 2 for the side of Bethel. I mean, these early skirmishes are pretty much everything you would want for Bethel. You give Tristan the 2 kills, you get your J4, you get your jungler going early, and then Silas in that mid lane also picking up a kill. Like you said, the snowballing is going to be insane in this match. And here comes Pyke mid again. I think Braum was at least expecting a little bit here, going to roam as well. Pyke looking for the hook, gets the hook off, bone plating proc, but not going to dash in and stun, just going to kind of wait it. Getting a little bit of gold, trying to help Orianna push this wave out, try to get it back here on this Silas. Man, I mean, hey, we talked about Bethel wanting to do this early game. They definitely did it early game. This Pyke has just been like on Adderall, just sprinting around everywhere, getting kills. It's fun to watch. I love it. There's a shot as well. We were talking about how, I mean, Poppy just stops that Ornn combo. It's just really rough for Anaya to get those trades off that she wants, but taking a great CS lead in this top lane. I mean, got a couple of backs. Not too much going. Anaya has to be really careful here, taking an insane trade. There's the R from Poppy as well. The R coming out from Anaya. Has to kind of use it to save herself. Tries to dash back, gets hit. The slow from Poppy, and the buckler is going to finish it off. Yeah, there's another solo kill. And now, I think Valpo's in a really bad spot here. Giving a lot over to this team. I mean, sitting on 2K right now in this early game. You do have Vector hovering this bot side though. J4 still on his red, so if you're looking for something after this Krug, you probably have the time to. There goes Pyke engaging as well. The dash in, not going to be able to hit the stun though. Sorry about that, folks. Having a couple of issues here. There we go. But now, you see this first dragon coming up, right? You're gonna hover it a little bit, trying to get a couple of visions. It's so rough for Valpo because when you have this lead taken away from you, right? You really don't have the pressure to walk up, especially into a Pyke, especially into someone that's so like roam heavy, that likes to kind of spread that lead out. It's just kind of a really dangerous river to step up into. And now, I mean, both of them trying to get it back off. There's pulling the stun as well. The Tristana E goes out. He jumps in and gets the shield off. The shield will block the E damage. This is just enough for Valpo to be able to get out of here. But now, you give up. Yep. You give up that trade. You're going to have to stay for wave. And J4 is already pathing on this bot side. And you're going to be able to go up and take this drag. Yeah, now, I mean, you're kind of forced to stay. This probably should just be first dragon for Valpo. Or excuse me, for Bethel. Yeah, that's just going to be first Ocean Drake for Bethel. I don't see really a way that Valpo can contest that. And we're seeing already jumping to that tri-bush. They're going to try and just find something here. There's the Pyke as well. The pull's going to go wide, and they're just going to reset the back of Braum. Yeah, no, definitely just gonna put him a little bit behind at least, but oh, and there's the flash as well, and stolen Orianna art. Orianna tries to ult under tower, gets the flash off, not gonna be able to pull though. Although both survive. Yeah, that's both ult and both flash out of each mid laner there. So pretty even trade. There's the J4 jumping out, doesn't hit the Braum though. Braum's just gonna walk back and try to clear vision. Tries to dash into the Poppy W. Alright, Anaya. A little bit rough there, but I mean, no harm, no foul. Still up in CS though by 5, although you are down a kill here, so you have to be at least a little bit careful. Stepping on the buckler. You see Pyke is roaming pretty heavy into the bot side jungle of Valpo. Just getting a little bit of vision. Gonna back it up and do spot Sejuani on Krugs here. So you're gonna have to see kind of how they decide to punish that, especially because now you know you can play a little bit stronger topside. But Naya does get the full combo off the dash in for Poppy. Gonna ult this as well. Gonna try and knock the ult, gets the knock ult back up, but we haven't engaged in this bot lane as well. The jump in, Braum gets the ult out, but Pyke ult starts. They're gonna trade 1-for-1 here. Sejuani picking up one, Pyke picking up the second. Jinx cleanses, and Jinx is able to kite out that Pyke. Now gets the reset as well. Tristana just trying to jump in, and that's gonna be a double kill for Jinx in this bot lane. I mean, we saw they took such an early lead, but Valpo coming back with a really strong team fight there. Excuse me, a really strong 3v3 there. Getting that Jinx reset, being able to fire that last solar rocket on Pyke, trying to just disengage, giving that reset and being able to just melt down that Tristana. No, I mean, now you kill 3, they're going to be able to just go this bot lane here. And you're going to take so much off of this tower. You see Rift Herald drop, you have Jinx drop. That's going to be 3 plates straight into the pocket of Jinx and Sejuani. And now you have to be careful. I mean, this is what we were talking about, Pyke roaming this mid lane, but good on Shadow Spark at least to be conscious of that, knowing, hey, if Pyke is missing, I should probably just head mid lane. He's going to have to walk up here. There's the knock and the ult as well, and the ult from Justin trying to just get this corner off, and there's the auto and a great turn for Valpo. Valpo now shielding, gonna try and turn this into 2. There's the exhaust on the Sylas. Sylas steals the Braum ult. Braum jumps a little bit too far though. Gonna have to pull it back. There's the hit as well. The jump in, Vector picks up Sylas. Now Pyke is just in a bad spot looking for maybe a pull there. The last auto, but it's not gonna kill. Pyke's healing is just enough to get him away. Oh man. I mean, that's gonna be a 2-for-2 trade, right? Or excuse me, a 2-for-1 trade for Valpo. Again, Valpo slowly starting to edge this back now around a pretty even gold lead. Pyke almost missing, or almost hitting that hook. Not going to be able to get it though. But Valpo in a much better spot than we saw them early game. And I mean, now you're playing with a really good like setup at least, because you've evened this gold lead out. You put a lot more on your bot laner, although you are still lacking a little bit in the mid lane. Top lane has taken a good CS advantage. I mean, we're checking out the gold here. You have 200 in the top. You have about 1,000 in the jungle here. Especially with these last fights, I mean, you have a shutdown for a reason now. Although you are lacking a little bit in the mid, you have the edge, at least in that top and jungle. I just realized, I mean, Jinx is still down a little bit of gold here. But, not too much to be at least noticeable. Just gonna step on that buckler, and now I mean it's gonna be pretty favorable trades as this game goes on for Anaya. But you see 4 of Valpo sitting down in this bot side here, kind of leaving that mid lane open. Looking to maybe try and open up a play here as second dragon is coming up here. They will just rotate back mid. Vector not going to be able to find anything. Just going to have to rotate back around with the Orianna. But here comes the 4-man here. They're maybe going to have to start up something around this drag. There's a zoom out as well. Going to be able to back up. Jinx just shooting this drag, but drag taking a couple of shots. There's the TP as well from Poppy. But here comes the TP from Anaya as well. It looks like Anaya TP's in this backline. Stun comes in as well. The Orin Arc jumps up. Dreadful gets the first reset, and here comes Dreadful now walking down this side. He has to be careful. He's a little bit low, but the pull in as well from Jakimbo is going to be enough. And here he comes running it down. The ult from Tristana is not going to be enough. Although the Sejuani misses, they're going to try and clear this Pyke out. There's the shot. Give it to Jinx. Get this last shot. Although Orin takes it, you're going to send Orianna, and that's going to be a clean ace for Valpo. I mean, a huge early stun. You have kind of the power of the Braum and the Sejuani, both insane 4-hit passive stuns, right? You have so much CC layering here that right as Bethel tried to engage on that, immediately was turned on, got the double stun, give Dreadful his first reset. They grouped up a little bit, allowed Jakimbo to ult, and that kind of just let Valpo run them over. But now, I mean, Jakimbo gets so much off of this mid lane, doesn't have to help with that drag. And this just blew kind of this mid game wide open for Valpo. That's going to be first turret. That's a lot of gold into the pocket of this Jinx now. 6-1-4 early in this game when we were really worried about this early.
in like a really good spot now, just from all of the gold that they just attained, even as like a team. And that just shows how like Valpo is really like comfortable with team fighting with each other, and they're just kind of like good at it really, and that's why we play team fighting comps.
Yep.
Because that's what we feel good about, and maybe our solo laning wasn't shaky in the beginning, but we came together.
Yep.
Now we're doing good.
No, I definitely agree. I mean, I think this is kind of what we like to see from Valpo. We get a little bit worried when we lose a little bit too much in that solo lane, but Valpo coming back and at least, you know, showing us why we draft these kind of late game team fighting comps. But now, I mean, had a couple of lane changes, right? Here comes the J4 taking the Hex Gate as well. Silas is going to engage off that. Jakimbo has to be really careful here. You have, yep, there's the jump in as well, the flash, and there's the ult, and I don't even think he needed J4 there, and that's just going to be a clean shutdown for Silas. Jakimbo just walking up way too far on that, right? You see the stolen ult from Silas. You have flash open, you just need to get out of there.
Dying with flash always sucks.
Yep. It's rough. I mean, you do have still J4 in that bot side anyways, so I think if you flash, you still do get J4 like cataclysmed. It's a little bit rough, but you at least need to force a little bit more out there, but it's just going to be a solo kill for Silas. So I like it. Silas picking up the Night Harvester build, because it's kind of like between you take either Everfrost or you take Night Harvester. Rod of Ages is kind of falling off on Silas, at least for the long run. So with this Rift Herald mid, already first tower going down, you're gonna take a huge chip on the second tower. Pyke tries to go a little bit ahead, but gets stuck over the wall, gonna have to just jump back over it. Here comes J4 as well, jumping in. Justana jumps, he's gonna have to drop this wall. Silas jumps on the backline, but the ult from Sejuani saves him there. There's the exhaust out as well. Here comes the TP from Orianna. Orianna, huge ult, and gets the reset for Dreadful. One goes to Dreadful, two goes to Orianna. And now he's looking for the ult there. This gonna sidestep the ult. There's this flash and jumping from Sejuani. Sejuani looking for just one more auto. Takes a ton of health though. And they're gonna just take this turret. Pyke is in a bad spot behind them though. And they're gonna use this to try and take mid turret. I think they can try and go for inhibitor if they get the reset on Jinx after this turret. Yep, here comes the inhibitor as well, and we're going to just see how fast this stacks. If Pyke even wants to step up, I think it's so rough. They're not going to finish off this inhibitor, though. Just going to try and take what they get and back out pretty safe here.
And taking an inhibitor before 20 is usually like a really bad idea.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's probably a good thing that they didn't get it, especially if they want to be the more skilled team.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? You give a lot of gold away, especially with super
XP,
minions.
yeah.
Yep, a lot of XP, a lot of just like waves that you won't have prio over anymore, or kind of can't control the way you want to. So until we're looking for really ending this game, especially around like Baron time, like you said, it's just definitely not the best play.
And like you would want to get inhibitor if Baron was up, but it's not right now, or drag either. So it's just kind of like there would be unnecessary pressure and resources into them.
Yep. Especially because now you take that inhibitor, you give the chance to clear that mid wave, especially before next objective, and you don't have that kind of split pressure that you need to kind of alleviate a little bit stress off your jungler. And now, I mean, you have the clear wave, or excuse me, just fighting over vision a little bit here in this mid lane. Obviously the Umbral Glaive on Pyke, it's just going to be huge here for catching up on that vision score. But now, I mean, you're looking as Valpo for those 4v4s. You have Baron up at 30. You're looking for something at least here to get them going. And I think with this next team fight, Valpo can really start to close things out. They're shot in the dash up as well. And we're seeing now these trades are really favored for Anaya. When she starts counting that cooldown on that W for copy, there's a pull-in as well from Orianna. Orianna, though, huge chunk, and now Valpo is just situated around this, but Dreadful just hits the W, hits the ult, and that's just going to finish, or excuse me, not hits the ult, hits the W, just going to snipe off that Pyke and use that passive to be able to take this dragon. I mean, it is really rough. We saw how strong it was early game, but now Pike is just kind of getting caught out a little bit here. Tries to get the knock up. The flash as well, going to force out. And Anaya is now sitting in a really, really good spot in this top lane. Does miss time the dash in a little bit here, but with that one kill, Valpo is going to try and immediately set up this Baron, but it looks like they're just trying to bait to try and force a 4v5. Yep, there's a couple of pings going to try and push this top wave out. Probably going to help take this tier 1 here. If they can knock this tier 1 down, maybe trade a kill for it or anything. I think Valpo's sitting in a really good spot, especially because you have Jinx getting that passive off. Looks like she will take it back though, probably has a pretty big buy. We'll have to see. I mean, if you can get 3-item Jinx coming up here, yep, at least get the armor, or at least get the armor pen component. I think Jinx is sitting in a really good spot now. But no, I mean, Valpo, this is definitely, although it wasn't the cleanest early game, these were insanely clean team fights. I think they're playing these like front to back insanely well, especially with the comp that they drafted. And now you have the lead on who you want, right? You have the lead on Sej, you have a lead on Orianna, and you have the lead on Jinx, most importantly. So now, if Valpo is, fair to take these team fights, the only issue is you have 1,000 gold shutdown on arguably your squishiest person on the team. So Valpo has to just play a ton of peel this next fight. Make sure that shutdown doesn't go away. Make sure a lot of their fighting power doesn't just fall apart. Couple of pings here. Silas does miss the dash over the wall though. Will be forced to flash, and the Braum ult is well stolen. Just gets the knock up there in the slow. It's going to be enough to just disengage him, but that will be flash out of their mid laner. So now, I mean, with Baron up, Valpo still has Orianna bot side, right? You do have TP up. You have Nolan bot side as well. Just gotta clear these camps and get moving. But I think Valpo's in a great spot to actually try and team fight this here. Just obviously gotta shove these waves first. Yep, there's the pike hook over the wall. It's gonna miss. Yep, and now I mean you see Bethel gonna be expecting at least a little bit of something, a little bit of setup around this Baron, but it looks like Valpo is just not there yet. Gonna take the back before, but there's a reason you take that like delayed back. It's because you now have LDR on Jinx. You have so much fighting power. Shadow Spark is going to the bot side jungle, but he'll just rotate right back after taking a little bit of vision. Yep, there's the walk up as well. The auto finding Pike. Just gonna trade a little bit here. Pike's still walking up in this bush. Has to hook and then jump back, but Valpo's got, I mean, 4 behind that Braum there. Definitely just have to disengage a little bit. Braum's still looking for it. Gets the hook, or gets the shot over the wall. Gonna slow a little bit there. There's another shot, just chaining these together now. Sidesteps the hook as well. Gonna look for maybe one more Q. Nope, just gonna have to walk out. I mean, the rest of your team is backing up. They're gonna try and catch this wave and move Baron. There's a shot. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's half of Pike's health, right? That's the thing. Pike is like one of his squishiest champions, especially when it comes late. So any trades like that from Orianna, from Jinx, just chips so much off of him. But now, I mean, you have Anaya jumping in, gonna get the jump out. He's taking a trade up in the Silas top lane. Silas looking to just W to try and even that trade out. Gets the Conqueror proc. Anaya still getting the grass procs as well. Just a bloody fight in this top lane. Gets the dash out. Not gonna be able to hit it, but here comes the ult as well. You don't have a dash, you don't have a pull, and that's gonna be a solo kill for Anaya in this top side. But here comes the rest of Bethel though. You have J4 and you have Pike. Looks like they're just gonna push him off this wave, trying to catch this. But now Valpo has at least just a really free third dragon here coming up in 5 seconds. Yep, I mean, Is Hex
Kind
straight?
of what you expect, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Bethel can really match this at this point, but they do have an engaged topside as well. J4 getting the Cataclysm, but here comes the Tristana as well, jumping in, gets the bomb, full proc off, but it's not going to do enough to put Anaya pretty low here. There's another shot trying to just back Anaya's, or stop Anaya's back, excuse me. It did force the flash out of topside, but I mean, other than that, yeah.
But J4 ult has a pretty short timer, so it's kind of okay.
Yep. I mean, now though, you're pathing this top side. You don't have TP out of Anaya. She just TP'd back after that. So I think you gotta take a trade on this Poppy and look for an ult. Yeah, there's the ult as well. Popping off, gets the flash from Poppy. Now Poppy in a really bad spot. If they want to try and pressure anywhere else, you'll have the TP advantage on Jakimbo. And I mean now, yep, they're pathing over to this Baron. Looking for a little bit of vision, couple of pings going off, but they might just start up this Baron now. I mean, you have a 4K gold lead. You have a lot of team fighting, right? While it's not the biggest lead in the world, I think you are in a pretty good spot here if you want to fight something. Especially seeing, I mean, Bethel is bot side now. Looks like they won't go for anything. Just being pretty indecisive, but they're finally going to start up this Baron here. And now, I mean, you have Jinx, you have a ton of damage going out, and you're just shredding this Baron. There's the TP as well from Silas on this top side. A couple of pings going out. I think Bethel hears it. They're going to try and flip this as well. You have Pyke as well to pull on Orianna. Orianna playing a little bit of the zoning game. We're going to see who wins the smite game here. To jump in, and Bethel wins the smite fight. The steal as well. Sejuani picks up one. There's a huge ult as well, though. Orianna going to pick up two. Gets the reset for Jinx. Jinx picks up one as well. There's the shot. There's the ult out. Almost one-shotting that Pyke there. Now running it back, and I mean, you have two alive. You have only the bot-siders alive on Bethel, although they flipped that Baron. Valpo, you're going to have to use this, right? I mean, if you're losing this Baron, you have to push these waves in now, especially with the death timers that you got. You still got 15 seconds left before this J4 even gets back up. Yep, there's the shot.
Honestly, with Jinx, they could probably go for... Or no, they have Baron minions. Never mind.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of agree with you, though. With Jinx passive, I think if you take that and you just start taking first tower, I think you could end that game.
Yeah, if you wanted to be really aggressive, I think you could.
Yeah. I agree with Valpo's move here, though. Obviously, it is still kind of a flip if you want to try and end this game now. But, taking at least a little bit more pressure, taking a couple of more bot side turrets. Bot side and top side turrets, excuse me. Just getting a little bit more gold. Definitely going to be better in the long run here.
And the other thing is every team fight Ori ults on top of Jarvan and Silas and Poppy are always all on top of each other. So
Yep.
honestly, if we like when we go into game 2, if I was Bethel, I would be banning this Ori because I feel like it's really what's countering them in team fights.
Yep. And I mean, we saw in the draft as well, they already did like 3 ban out Jakimbo. I'm assuming if they didn't draft Jakimbo R1 to R3, probably would have 5 banned him too. But yeah, exactly like you said, you take these kind of like melee heavy frontline fighting techniques, and you have Orianna ult, which just displaces them on, does a ton of damage, especially going to Leandries too. You just have such a strong opening for an ult like Orianna's. There's a trade up again. I mean, 4th Dragon Soul Point is coming up in a minute here, so you're gonna see teams fight over a little bit of vision control, just trying to see anything here. But there goes the Jinx as well, forcing the dash over the wall from Pyke. Yep, there's a shot. I mean, now you're trying to catch this wave, but there's the flash in as well from Sejuani. Sejuani gets the jump in. There's the ult Cataclysm, but the pullback, it's not going to be enough as Dreadful picks up the first kill. Dreadful picks up the second kill, jumps in. The Silas steals the Orianna ult though, but it has enough peel as Orianna ults back herself, and that's going to clear it. And we have a little bit of a spectator bug, excuse me folks, but that's probably going to be 4 down. Yep, there's a double kill for Orianna, a double kill for Jinx, excuse us folks, sorry about that. And that's going to be pretty much, I mean, game defining. Now, You're sitting at a 6k gold lead. You have so much gold on this Jinx here. Here pick up Hextech Soul, and I think you just push this mid. Right, obviously you'll have a little bit of a back here, but outside of that, I think you can just try and end this game. Yep, there's a spot side turret. Maybe looking to give it to Jinx. Jinx is just gonna look for a back, just try and get items and go finish this game out. There's the pull. Charging it up. Will hit the Orianna though. Not going to be able to jump in though. Not sure where the rest of the team is. Going to take that Hex the Gate out. Going to delay Jakimbo a little bit here, but he still is sitting on TP. And I mean, Valpo playing this late game just foot on the neck style. Really rough for Bethel to kind of get anything here. A couple of solo kills were picked up, right, just to even this gold lead out, but Valpo otherwise, when they're a cohesive unit, I think Bethel's just struggling to try and break that. But now, I mean, you have this Pyke as well. Orianna does spot Pyke out, though. You're gonna have to walk out. I mean, that's just half health there. And Pyke is gone. Dreadful already gets the auto off, and that's just gonna be enough with the Kraken Slayer proc. And now, I mean, you have the kill that they need. Pyke just really out of position there, not really having the team to back it up, at least dashing over the wall the wrong direction. And now Valpo's just going to take this 4v5 mid.
Mike also hasn't really hit any big R's.
Yeah, there really just hasn't been a time that he can reset, because every time that Valpo would get low, he would already be dead in the team.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, I mean, you steal the ult from Sejuani, looking for maybe a little bit of counter engage from the Silas, or just looking to ult that Jinx, trying to get that shutdown for your team. But Jinx is going to get this tower reset, and now you're going to start stacking this passive, and I think it's looking really bad for Bethel. I think if Valpo wants to end this game, they can now. The Silas ult goes wide there, although Poppy does knock 2 of Valpo back, and if they're going to engage, they're going to engage now. The speed up from Orianna is going to dodge that Silas-y. They're going to try and dash in with the Poppy, but Poppy's just going to get shredded, and here comes Dreadful as well. Gets the passive reset, almost gets the W off. The ult's not going to hit. Gonna get that knock up though. There's the shot. There's Dreadful getting another. They're gonna try and wait for this wave. They do have shots on this inhibitor though. Gets the reset on the inhibitor. Now you're just insanely fast. You're looking for something. There's clearing this wave out. Gonna try and hit this tower a little bit here. After clearing this wave, there it is. And I mean, you're just seeing how fast this tower is shredding. I think there's no hope for Bethel left in this game. I mean, Pyke's out of position. Silas is out of position. Jarvan gets Orianna ulted there. The stopwatch as well coming out. And that's just going to be finished for Valpo. Valpo going to take this game a pretty clean, outside of the early game, right, a pretty clean mid to late game, I'd say. And overall, just kind of what you're looking for first game. But, hey.
Oh.
Can't really ask for much, being honest. You draft a late game comp, you play the late game, right? Love to see definitely a ton of what's called proactive plays from Dreadful, I'd say. Definitely like the best Jinx that I've seen him play in a while. Especially just being able to position himself, make sure that when you're playing with that 1,000 gold shutdown, you're not just throwing that away. You're not giving Bethel any team to get in, just kind of keeping the foot on the gas. But no, I mean, if there are any notes about game 1,
Well, I just think that they played an early game comp and they just kind of didn't, like they did well, but Jinx just scales, and so if you don't end that game soon enough, it's just kind of over.
yeah, I think it looks rougher and rougher for Bethel as that timer starts to tick down. But if that's it for game 1, we're going to catch you guys at the start of game 2 for this series of Valpo versus Bethel.
Yep.
And we are back, ladies, gentlemen, and MBs, to the start of game two, at least the draft that is, of Valpo versus Bethel. Valpo now on the red side, Bethel on blue side, gonna have that first pick, but I mean, ban-wise, they're keeping it the same here. Might look for an Oriana ban on this very last R3, like we talked, or B3 as we talked about. But, I'm not sure. Right, Valpo, no reason to change. No, they don't. Alright. They're just gonna leave Oriana open again. I wouldn't be surprised if Valpo tries to draft it away. They are gonna ban this Jinx though, make sure that Bethel doesn't get to B1 that, or R1 that, excuse me. Um, and now Bethel, you're gonna probably look for, they picked up their jungle first last time. Um, Probably gonna look for an ADC on this first pick, especially with, uh, a lot of ADCs banned from the side of Valpo. Um, Got kind of limited options here, at least with what Bethel plays. Okay, they are gonna first pick Oriana. That's the reason they left it open. Makes sense. Uh, if you want to play Oriana, definitely like a good pick, especially a blind pick, right? You work a lot with your team, leaves a couple of comps open. I feel like it is a good um, first pick, at least for Bethel's side. But Valpo gonna respond by R1ing a Xayah and then maybe R2ing a jungle, R2ing a support. Would make sense. You want to give support probably a counter pick here with this angle, but we'll have to see. Um, we'll see if just like Jakimbo has anything to pick up against this Oriana right now, though. Um, if they want to draft it right before this swap, he's got to blind at least one person. So you blind this Xayah, and we'll see. No, all right. All right. Valpo picks up the Ornn. Um, Actually kind of interesting. I know that Bethel's top laner is different this game. Definitely a big Ornn player for Bethel now. So Valpo prioritizing Ornn a little bit here, gonna draft him R2 just to make sure that Bethel can't, get every single pick that they want. But now, I mean, on blue side here, gonna have to see what we draft. The
A
Sivir.
Sivir?
Interesting. Um, I mean, Marcelin, you gotta. I'm not too well versed with this. You gotta tell me how this matchup kind of works. Especially once we see a look at these supports, probably R3 here. Um, I mean, I know Sivir is kind of just a one item, two item, uh, just like boss almost. Especially with like you pick up the Novoris, you pick up some kind of reset. Then with her ult, you're just constantly auto resetting. You're constantly queuing. You have a ton of spell shields. It's a little
Sivir's
bit of
more of a
like,
get to 300 CS and just clear.
all right, kind of more of like a scaling ADC, I'd say.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess she's good in Desire with her spell shield, but like truthfully, I just never see Sivers excel like ever.
hmm
So whenever I see a Sivir, I'm just kind of confused, but maybe it'll be like something interesting or surprising.
But I mean, speaking of interesting and surprising, we see our first Victor pick as well for Valpo Esports. Really of this season as well, right? Victor kind of been a sleeper pick almost in the mid lane here. Hasn't really found light, especially when people like Talia, like Syndra, who have a ton of range, are much better. But I mean, when you're talking Oriana, Victor can, trade blow for blow with Oriana, arguably a bit better. So it's a great pick to have, especially when you're trying to counter engage. Against a Jarvan who can Cataclysm, who can knock up. Your W is a great zoning tool. I think this is actually a great pickup for Valpo's side, um, especially Arthurine and Bethel. Gonna ban out the Zac here. Valpo definitely not electing, although you do have Snacky Vengeance now in the jungle. You don't have Vector, who Snacky most played is Zac, right? Most comfortable champ arguably is Zac. Um, Although you don't have that like prioritized in the first picks, Bethel at least is going to ban it out last. And then you ban out Steamroller's Rakan as well. I know he's been kind of spamming that Rakan in support queue in like his practice games that they've had with Valpo. So if they ban the Rakan, you have to kind of ban the Nautilus because I know that Nautilus is that answer into Rakan that you were looking for. So Valpo is gonna draft first and pick up this Wukong. Um, gonna have to see. I mean, at least both supports probably to be our 5 tier, which is interesting. But I mean, support counter pick is kind of what you want to look for here. You don't really look for ADC counter pick. If they're gonna first pick Orianna, that's fine. Your Ornn is contested here, and your jungle you're counter picking. So R5 in support definitely makes sense. And Bethel's gonna pick up the new Jax. All right. I mean, for fans of the stream, obviously, you see we got the new Jax visual update going on. So I think this will be the first Jax visual update we see. Um, at least in our series in Bethel, gonna blind the Alistar as well. Gonna have to see who Valpo picks up into Alistar. But man, uh, honestly, Tarek, I like it. I mean, you can kind of tell me how this pick matchup works, but in my head, Tarek is just insanely good in the melees. Um,
Yeah.
if you're going into like a melee support or someone that wants to, face up engage, especially with a comp like Jax, a comp like Alistar, I think Tarek is just a really, really good pick.
No, I'd have to agree with you. Mostly, and then also Tarek's ult is probably like one of the most broken ultimates in the game.
Yeah,
And especially if we're looking at Valpo's teamfight angle, the fact that they love teamfighting so much, a Tarek ult is just like massive and on top of that.
yeah, that makes sense. You just have so much for your team, especially like the peel that you give Xayah, right? Obviously, Xayah has the self peel that she gives herself. You have the Victor W, and now you have Tarek ult and Tarek stun that goes off of that. I think it's gonna be almost like a raid boss to try and kill this Xayah on the side of Valpo Esports. But Bethel taking a comp that I don't hate either. Um, you take the Jax to fight into Ornn, right? You're trying to take early trades, um, stop the Ornn from getting off the auto attack on the like brittle proc with the counter strike, and then you can kind of just out fight him slowly using your jumps, using your W resets. So it's just going to be a little bit of an oppressive lane topside if Anaya doesn't get on top of the trades. But otherwise, Bethel taking kind of a scaling bot lane. I mean, you got to tell me this matchup here, because now that we see both ADCs, both supports, who do you think is kind of favored in this early game, and then who do you think is kind of favored in this scaling matchup here?
Well, scaling wise, I think Jaya and Tarek is just better. If the game like goes on forever, then I think Sivir might be better. But I really just when I see a Sivir, I really don't know because no one really plays her, and like on top of that, she doesn't have like a burst to kill with Alistar's stun.
Yep.
So she doesn't have like high damage output for Ali stun. And on top of that, like she can't add on to Alistar's stun. Like if
Yeah.
Tarek stuns, Jaya can stun, you know?
Yeah.
But Sivir doesn't
there's a
really have
layering.
something like that.
I see.
But if they like wave clear, and then the other thing is Jaya has really good wave clear too.
Yep.
So even if Sivir wave clears and shoves them under tower, I feel like Jaya can just instantly clear the massive wave under tower. So that's like kind of Sivir's thing is to push all the time,
Hmm.
and I feel like it gets kind of negated by the equal amount of push that Jaya gives.
Interesting. So you'd say that this is kind of where Valpo favored, at least in this bot side.
Yeah, I would think so. Unless like the Sivir player is cracked out of her mind and about to show me some new Sivir tech that I've never seen.
I mean, hey, we never know. We've had crazier surprises here on the Valpo cast, honestly. But we'll have to see. I mean, honestly, talking about this mid lane, I really like the Victor pick here. I'm a little bit of a Victor enjoyer myself. Sadly, I haven't played him recently, but I know that at least with this matchup, it's a pretty comfortable matchup for Victor because if you run a Scorch area, you don't have to necessarily run First Strike. Um, if you go Scorch area, you can ban for ban, you can match Orianna. It's really hard for Orianna to kind of get that poke off because every time she steps up, you trade back with E. Trade back with E, and as a fun little like fact as well, Victor's Q range that he throws off is slightly less than Oriana's Q range. So if you're going to throw a Q, every time Oriana steps up, you should look to trade with your shield. and that kind of makes it so that it's insanely victor favored. So every time you kind of step up, that trade is insane. We talked about the Jax, Ornn jungle. You have a Wukong into J4. I think the jungle pick is insanely strong here because you're running an armor stacker into Jax, Jarvan, Sivir. Although
Yeah.
Oriana will get like, free shots off, I think that you have a ton of options at least for what you want to itemize in this game, and I think the Wukong is just kind of the engage that Valpo's looking for. Again, another really strong team fighting comp, I'd say. Bethel, a lot stronger of a team fighting comp, I think, this game than it was last game. Less early game focused, more late game focused, but like we talked about, a lot of people like to draft trying to match Valpo's playstyle, and that usually works out in Valpo's favor. So, I mean, any final thoughts going into this game too?
Not especially other than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward game, right? What you see is what you get here, and we will catch you guys at the start of the spectator delay. Yeah, so we're sorry about that, folks. We are on a quick pause, really quick. Not only did our spectator delay bug, but our support's computer just kind of busted. So we're gonna take a quick little break here. Sorry about the pause, and we will catch you guys at the start of game 2. One second. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, to the start of game 2 for Valpo versus Bethel. Just gonna leave the climate a little bit here. Um, this has been a great start already. It's always like game 1 runs really smoothly, and then our stream starts to devolve by game 2, and definitely no no change here. Uh, but off to the races. You take a look at the runes, take a look at the summoner spells, see what's going on. Um, Only like really noticeable difference I feel between both teams really is that you have the airy scorch on the side of it. Yep. There's the first shot. I mean, that's kind of what you're looking for. This whole matchup is just going to be Victor trying to outtrade this Orianna. So going the airy scorch, going those lane runes, just being able to shred a ton is going to be huge. And now, I mean, usually, I mean, you can correct me here if I'm wrong, Marceline. Usually with Sivir, you want to kind of start cold. You start a little bit of it's like some kind of scaling, not really looking to fight, but we'll go the Dorn's Blade first.
Well, it's because D-Blade got buffed really aggressively.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, you have like so much more health with it and more
Mess
AD.
with the bull
So
and
going
Gotcha.
get
Cole
the
right now
horns.
in bot meta is kind of a troll thing to do.
Gotcha. All right, that makes sense. Especially with like in Halistar, I feel like you have a little bit more fighting, gives you a little bit more sustain. But Valpo, you can start that top side, start that red side, gonna try and path the bot here, like we saw last game. But oh man, seeing this Victor pick makes me want to go home and play Victor now. I miss that champ very
You have a
much.
thing for Victor.
Yeah, it's genuinely he's one of my favorite champs to play. I love him. Also, E start as well. Not gonna start the Q there, and you're gonna see gonna be a little bit rough trying to take those trades. But now gets the first trade as well. The Glaciate procs gets the W just to back it off there. And now Valpo has a little bit more pressure, at least hitting these melees here, trying to just melee him. Gets the level 2 early, and they're gonna try and look for something in the spot side. You see Tarek walking up. Thing is about Tarek, right? You have a really nice stun, but you don't have much of a way of getting in. Hence why he's really good into melees, but not so good into ranged comps because you just have a hard time actually stepping up to people. And this jumping from Alistar as well gets the heal off. Not gonna be much of a trade back though. No harm, no foul there. Yeah, but here comes Wukong mid as well though to get a trade with the Aerie Scorch, and that's a ton of damage on this Orianna. And now Victor's there. I mean, you have J4, but Victor can take a really strong trade. J4 still looking for a jump in. Wukong covering this wall here. Nothing's really going to come out of this, but that is going to be a ton of damage onto Orianna here. And with this trades, and you're seeing now just outside of that, like, obviously early jungle, you're seeing how oppressive this is. A little bit down on CS in the mid lane, but definitely focusing on just making this Orianna uncomfortable. There's the pullback. Otherwise, I think this game's pretty simple, like we talked about earlier. It's kind of what you see, what you get. Stops the back there as well. Orianna now low on mana, low on health. Gonna be in a really uncomfortable spot here with this wave shoving in as well. Gonna just have to look to see, you know, what you're trying to go for. There's a knockup as well, and the trade. Trying to get the Brittle proc off. Not gonna be able to get it, but a huge health trade for Anaya in the top lane. There's the proc
They're
too.
gonna meet.
You have to be careful. Wukong does get engaged on by J4, but we'll back off here in the spotlight. Do spot both out though. There's the heal up as well. I mean, there's the knock. Sivir tries to get a lot of damaging, but there's just so much sustain from Taric. Taric meleeing this minion, trying to get that auto, try to get the Q procs off as well. And there's the stun trying to turn this back, and now the bot side for Bethel does look a little bit ahead here, especially you have Wukong coming down to the side though. Valpo's going to be looking to turn this. Jumps in on that Sivir there. Sivir doesn't have the spell shield to actually back it up though. You have the Alistar E pop off, and now Wukong is going to try and dash out here. Picks that proc at me. Bethel playing it pretty well here. There's the jump in as well. And then the clone and the stun as well. Trying to jump in. There's the flash from Sivir. The ignite goes off on Sivir as well. But Valpo is extremely low here. They have to play kind of safe. They're trying not to trade 1-for-1 here. Especially with the wave state that they have. They need to shove this in before they look for something. The back over the wall from Wukong is going to be stopped by Sivir. And now it's going to set him back like a good 5 seconds. Yep, there's another Q, but Wukong gonna have to start the back again.
Yeah, this entire time Jarvan is just taking his jungle.
Yep, I was about to say he's in this top side Raptors, just stealing a lot of his camps there. So I mean, Sivir, you good on Sivir for at least, you know, working with the jungle a little bit there. Yeah, and here comes at top. There's the shot. The counter strike stopping the brittle proc as well from that combo, just making it really rough for Anaya to try and play that. And that's kind of that matchup that we were talking about with Jackson the Horn. Although you do get late scaled, I feel like a little bit better. There's the engage as well. Gets jumped on a Dreadful. Dreadful getting healed out. Taric staying on the Sivir here, trying to do as much damage as they can. Alistar now being stuck in a really bad spot here. Dreadful now walking up, still pop the ghost. There's the stun as well. Gets the stun on the Sivir. Gets the last auto, and that's going to be first blood. Looking for a double kill here. Maybe not going to be able to get it too low. Doesn't want to take a tower shot there to trade. And that's going to be first blood, but you have to be careful. And now he does get the ult on the top side here. Flashes out. Not going to take the dash, but will use the dash from the ult to get away. So jungle can't trade anything for it there. And that's just going to be a 1-0 for Valpo in the top, or in the bot side. I mean, we talk about now, kind of we've had this lane prio mid this whole time, right? Just based off like matchup. So that bot lane fight was just so important, especially seeing J4 topside, that you take that fight bot, you get a couple of kills, you clear out wave, you have prio mid. Now these first couple of objectives are pretty free for Valpo. Yep, and that's just gonna be first dragon. Going to Valpo, gonna be Infernal Trig, power up those autos a little bit, power up those abilities. And now, I mean, I think it's looking pretty clean for Valpo. Topside. See the counter strike now really starting to be better health trades for Jax here, but as you see, as this game goes on, it's gonna be a little bit rough. The brittle proc in there being able to hit, trade a little bit of health back, and now that's gonna be a positive trade for Anaya with the counter strike down on Jax. Gets the bump and proc, gonna dash out of the counter strike now. The brittle's still up, the wall's still up, gonna drop down. And here's that kind of wave clear you're talking about, right? Silver clears that wave, but Xayah just kind of equalizes it back out. Even getting shoved under tower, that giant wave is now just hers. There's another jump in as well. Doesn't have the dash, tries to go unstoppable to time the E, but it's not going to work. Deadpool, Jackson, top lane will pick up the first kill of that matchup, of course. But here comes Wukong as well, trying to dash in. Gets the shot and gets the ult off as well. Gonna dash as well. Jax doesn't have much to disengage here. Gonna try and chip him with that. Maybe one more dash. There it is. And Snacky will pick up the trade there. Give Anaya a little bit of time. We do have an engage in the spot side though. Taric going really low. Gets the stun under tower. Dreadful with the root as well. Counter it back. And that's gonna be a kill for the side of Valpo. A really good 3-2 trade. Just being able to bait, play those limits, and catch them out under tower here. The J4 gank just not working again. Kind of having a really tough time finding anything in this map. Just gonna take the back. Tarek's sustain is gonna be enough to keep him in this lane here, help the shove. I think Valpo's in a really good spot now. Taking an early gold lead here, taking early objectives. Gonna play for this rift as well, Snacky on rift here. And now, I mean, here's the Hex Flash in the jungle though. You have to be careful. Here comes Snacky as well. I think Bethel at least sees that though. They have vision in the bush there. They know Snacky's kind of hovering that, especially because he just took that Rift Herald. Now, I think he's getting a little bit scrappy here. Alistar looked through something mid, not going to be able to pick it up, just forced to go back, and that's going to give Valpo's bot lane a free back here. I mean, you're up 2-0. There's another stop on back. Maybe looking to just ult it. I think the initial ult damage and a couple of procs afterward would be enough to kill, but it's just going to give him a free combo back. You don't have TP in the mid lane as well, so you're kind of sitting on a really good push in here in Rift Herald as well. Get a little bit of gold for yourself, steal a couple of camps, and I think Valpo's playing this mid game pretty well.
And Snacky taking back what is his.
Yeah, yeah, no. He got his Raptors stolen earlier in this game. Ain't gonna let that happen, but here comes a huge trade as well. Got the W down, but all of the bot lane and Jarvan trying to get the flash over the wall, but it's not gonna be worth it. Tohi picks up the kill onto Kimbo, and there's the engage as well from Snacky. Snacky's just trying to ult to get out, but I think he's just in a really bad spot. The bot lane of Valpo just didn't rotate over to match it. I think they just didn't have vision on it, didn't know where it was going, and now that's gonna be a ton of lead back into the side of Valpo. But Anaya getting the solo kill in the top lane as well, playing around the counter strike, being able to get that knock up in the final Q to finish it off. Trading it back, gonna get this wave back a little bit. Probably take a couple of plates for it too, as you have the TP down. A huge engage in this bot side as well. The stun from Tarek, and then the pop from
I don't know what that All-Star was doing.
Yeah, it's a little bit sus. A little bit sus. But no, now you have the engage Striffle, gets all the feathers going, gets the root, starts to just ramp up with that W. There's the engage as well. The Sivir spell shield is going to be enough. Gonna take a little bit of a trade, but that lets Dreadful to get into auto range, gets the pullback, but the pullback's not going to hit and do damage. And now Sivir's in a bad spot. You have to try and catch this wave, but you are diveable. Especially with Tarek, Tarek ult is coming up right now. I think they might just look to dive this, but you have to be careful now. The rest of Bethel is back. I think Valpo stayed a little bit too long here. You have to be careful. I think Steamroller might just try and pop this ult preemptively if they try to engage off of it, but I don't think they will, as you have the rest of Valpo rotating down. I think I said you have to be careful like 5 times in that last sentence. My bad
Yes,
there.
you did.
Yeah, my bad there. Sivir's still under this tower now. Really susceptible to a dive if they need to. Valpo hovering around this Drake here. They do have vision control. Although you are a lot heavier on the damage side, at least from Valpo, as you have Tohi, ADC for Bethel backing here. Now you're going to have to walk back. If Valpo's looking for a fight, I think you take it now. Yep, just trying to get trades. You have the empowered E from Victor now, though, so your wave clear is going to be nasty. Your damage is going to be nasty, although you are down 1 death. I think you're sitting in a good spot here for Valpo. A couple of pings going off, though. Might look for maybe a pick. J4 sitting in the bush there. Still do have Victor backed up. And now, yep. Might just try and scrap around this dragon objective. Yeah, I mean, that Victor E is now on like a 5-second cooldown. I mean, we're sitting at level 9, level 10, so you have it maxed out by now. Is another trade. I don't think any of these top laners will TP to this fight, although both TPs are up. I don't think it's worth it for second dragon, honestly. There's another engage. Jackson might just look to all in this under this tower here. Might be able to get this dive and jump back, especially with the ult up now. You have at least a little bit of burst damage, and I have to be really careful here. Yep, gets the jump in as well. Dashes in. Anaya jazzes out and then flashes and trades 1 for 1. I think that's best case scenario right there. You have TP. You have to be careful if you want to path directly to this dragon or if you want to path back to your top lane here, because it looks like a fight will break out. There's a Sivir ult and the dash in from Alistar. The flash as well coming from Taric. The flash from Dreadful as well. The ult from Taric being able to time it. Gets the invulnerability. Goes to trade on the Sivir. The Sivir goes down to the ignite of Taric, and here comes the turn from Valpo. Another engage as well from Snacky. Snacky just soloing on this Orianna here. Bot lane trying to solo out, get another kill. There's the kill for Snacky on Orianna. The rest of Valpo pushes off the bot lane and jungle there. Not going to be able to pick up a kill bot side, but that is going to be a positive trade for Valpo and second dragon going their way. No, I mean, that's really all you look for there. Although it was a little bit of a scuffed engage, definitely got caught out there by Alistar Sivir ult. He had good timing on the Taric ult. He had good flashes. You're able to pop Ghost and good positioning on Valpo. The rest of the team being able to just follow it back up and trade a lot of damage. That first kill on Sivir, and you kind of just snowball your way into the rest of the team.
Yeah. No, that was. I wouldn't call it clean, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, definitely had me a little bit worried at the start of that fight. But at least being able, I mean, when you have Taric ult, no fight is over at least. So that is second dragon for Valpo. That is set up, and now we wait a little bit longer. There's a dive and engage as well. You see Sivir, the W popping down from Victor. A lot of damage on Wukong though. Wukong has to be careful here. There's the flash. Here comes Alistar as well, looking for the knock up on Victor. Gets the knock up. Taric stun is gonna force them back here. That is really good trades for Bethel though.
I really feel like when we're streaming, we could just have a camera in the corner for top lane and then a camera for everyone else.
Yeah, honestly, there's a couple of like solo kills that go on one catch, but a lot of the times the direct-to-camera likes to just pick up these kind of bloody trades that we're looking at, and that is going to be Rift Herald being taken down by Bethel. Bethel taking the second Rift Herald here. You know, you lose the dragon, you lose that fight. You at least know where they are. Just gonna go trade objectives here. Be able to pick up a little bit of tower pressure, a little bit of lane pressure. Gets the unstoppable. Does trade it back here. Comes the ult as well. Both teams looking to all in here. Gets the knockup, the dash as well. Gets the stun, brittle proc, but the healing from Jax is enough. The healing from Jax isn't enough though. As Anaya finishes off that kill. I'm very tired. it's been a long night. But here's the Hex Smash from Alistar as well, knocking the Taric under tower. Taric gets the stun off though. Here comes Xayah stacking up those feathers. Now the ult from Wukong as well. The ult from Cataclysm trying to just stop that. The Taric ult going to be able to throw that. They stop the back, and then the last auto is going to finish off that first mid tier. There's the flash in as well from Victor, looking to try and get something. W stun's going to be enough. Pops the ult, and that's going to be a solo kill for Jakimbo in this bot side. And now, I mean, you clear off the mid laner, you clear off the mid turret. You have so much pressure, you push this bot side, and Bethel's in a really bad spot where they don't know what they want to stop, the bot lane or the mid lane. Yeah, you do have J4 sitting in that bush though. They're going to have to look to drop Rift somewhere. I mean, I don't think it's looking too hot for Bethel right now, trying to find an angle to drop this Rift. Yeah, there's the W out. Jakimbo has to be careful though. J4 is trying to just loop around, try and catch him out. Looks like he will be safe though. J4 goes back to his Krugs. Life goes on.
Another humble day in the jungle.
Yep, exactly. Just another humble day of farming, feeding, providing your family.
Yeah, coming back home with the Krug.
Yeah, exactly. And now Anaya, I think, will take this topside tower. Although Orianna is there, not going to be able to trade much though.
I don't feel like Orianna can really take Ornn.
Yeah, not with no item yet. And it looks like Orianna's going Leandries as well. Excuse me, not Leandries, Ludens. I'd say instead of Leandries. So definitely just kind of focuses up there. You can't really take that. But here's the Rift Herald force as well. Hit the counter strike on the bot side. The ult as well on J4. Being able to trade 1-for-1. There's the TP from Anaya trying to go for this J4, but we have an engage in the jungle as well. Here comes the Taric and Snacky. Both jumping in, gets stunned by Alistar. The Sivir spell shield's gonna stop the stun from Taric.
Almost.
Yeah, almost sniped with the Ornn ult though. There's another engage going in. Gonna force the ult out of Snacky as well. Just trying to get it. There's the recast. Sivir doing really well to at least
Orianna has
space
an
with
ult
that
here.
vision. Yeah, that's a ton of damage. Tarek walks back up, but Orianna's going to finish it off. There's the ult from Xayah. I think it's just a really terrible fight for Valpo. They're going to have to back here. There's the ult from Alistar stopping this, the Brittle proc off. And now, Valpo's just in a really bad spot. They do force TPs and flashes out of a majority of Bethel, but they do lose Prio over this first dragon, and they lose a lot of gold lead there. I mean, cutting the 5 to 3, it looks like. They're 5k to 3k, and they're going to pick up the subjective bounty as well, cutting that to 2k now. Valpo just gave way too much in that engage. Now we're seeing, right, there's throw over the wall.
Why
right?
does he walk like that? He's like a slinky.
That's gotta be the skin. I don't know.
I never feel like Jax looks that goofy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they gave him the visual update, right? And
Oh
now it's
yeah,
just
it
weird,
might be
but
different.
yeah, now Valpo still does have prio over this third dragon. We'll take it. They are up 3 dragons now. They're trying to trade Bethel though. Gonna take this tower topside. I don't think Anaya can do anything about it really. They do get the objective bounty for their team. And now, I mean, they traded it back for a 1k. I think Bethel's in a really good spot here. At least to try and contest this next objective.
It's very even right now.
Yeah. It's definitely a next fight kind of determines who gets prio for this late game here. But no, I mean, you're hitting 20 minutes now. Get the 20-minute buff for Valpo. Pretty much after 20
Oh yeah,
minutes.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah. After 20 minutes, we just start winning. So it's...
We start actually trying.
yeah. After 20 minutes, we decide to actually team fight together, which is by
Yeah.
far like our best thing.
We remember it's a team game.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I mean, now Valpo's gonna have to group up. I hope and Jigs. I'll knock on wood really quick though. But
Yeah.
Valpo's gonna try and group up. This first Baron is up now. You have TP out of Victor, just going to clear waves. You have Anaya topside. You have a lot of rotation, right? I think Valpo is just kind of the boring game where, excuse me, I'm yawning in the booth even. we get to the point where we're just farming now. There's no like, other than Baron is not exactly like a need or a push going for anyone. You're just trying to clear vision. If somebody gets caught out, they get caught out. But now, yep, you're just walking around trying to get anything. You see J4 on the blue buff there. Maybe gonna try and go for something. Not really gonna pick it up though. There's the shot as well. They're gonna just see how much damage this Victor does now as we start to scale. I mean, he went Void Staff immediately second. Probably gonna pick up. I wouldn't be surprised if he picks up like a Lich Bane or something third here. But already just so much damage, so much pen that against any team that's gonna try and stack it, I think he's still gonna just shred a little bit. But no, I mean, now we're looking at a couple of backs, right? We're just farming. I don't know. Like, this happens every game. We hit to a point to where we decide, you know what, let's just handshake and all farm our jungles. Let's have a fun time together before our next fight pops off. Oh, now, right, you have Valpo trying to pressure up a little bit here. You have a lot of push bot side, but you have to be careful. You see J4 and Alistar there. Jakimbo has to be really careful he doesn't get picked off. They do get picked off, that would be an instant start for the next objective. But Valpo does spot a couple in the bot here. If there's the trade as well, looking to just get something going.
Oh,
We're having a little bit of an issue here. Sorry about that, folks.
I'm too quiet. That's the issue.
It's alright, we're back. So now, I mean, it's gonna be up to Valpo to, you still have the gold lead, just don't give away the shutdown. I think the shutdown on Xayah is the biggest way that Bethel gets back, because they are pretty even in this game now, so taking that shutdown on Xayah definitely would put them in this lead. no, I mean, man.
You're
Some
infecting
days,
me, bro.
some days it's, yeah. Sorry for giving you the yawns.
Oh, literally.
It's a little bit rough. I mean, we are an early morning game.
Yeah,
We're watching a scaling comp in the early morning. Yeah, you can't blame me here in the booth.
you
here.
just
You
sit
can't
back,
blame
relax,
Marceline in the
wait
booth.
until.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I need my like cup of tea. I need a nice little like
Yes.
book to read. It would be
Yeah,
nice.
look up every so often when there's a team fight.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, hold on. I think Tarek ulted.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, looks like Valpo's gonna start up this Baron. Amen. Here we go. They are gonna start this Baron here after catching vision on J4 backing there. They're gonna try and start this up. J4 is sprinting back, but I don't think they can even contest it here, as that's just gonna be a free Baron. Even when I think something's gonna go down, it doesn't go down. That's just gonna be free first Baron for Valpo. They're just gonna take a couple of backs. You have probably good component. Yeah, you have BF sword for Zaya. Oh, here we go. Now we have a trade.
Oh, here we go.
Alistar gets caught out a little bit, but he is just so fast from that Sivir ult. Sivir's going to look for a little bit of a trade back. Steps up here. You're going to have to be careful. I think they're baiting for this J4. Valpo sees it. We will have a little bit of a walk up. I mean, Cloud Soul is just making everybody so fast here. Anaya does walk up, gets the Q in, trying to look for a dash. J4 is still sitting in the bush. They do have vision, though. They see the red ward. You have to be careful. A lot of Valpo is split between that ridge between blue buff here. So if they decide to try and cataclysm anything, it might be a little bit rough for them. They have to try and reposition for this fight. It looks like they will. They will 5-man this dragon here. Looking for Cloud Soul, looking for that little bit of extra speed, although isn't the most useful. They will pick it up, though. And now, I mean, you're just so fast. Valpo has quick 4
Catching,
oaks.
maybe.
Yeah.
No. Never mind.
Oh, we do have. They are gonna walk. Trying to steal this dragon. There's a smite as well. Make sure they don't get that big raptor. They are gonna take this back. Yep. And now, I mean, we're back to farming.
Yeah.
we're back to pushing waves, but this time at least we have Baron. We can at least push these waves a little bit faster here.
Sivir's almost at her 300 minion power spike.
Yep. Oh, so close to it. We're only like 70 minions off.
Almost there.
Honestly, with the pace
In
of this
terms
game,
of this game.
yeah, I think we'll hit that pretty fast. Or at least fast in our book, pretty slow overall. There's a Jackson gauge though on this top side here, jumping for a little bit of a trade. And I does get the does get the knock up off. It won't really turn into much here, but outside of Valpo taking a little bit of pressure. Now you have to be careful. Orianna looking for the early engage. There's the ult as well. Just a ton of damage, forcing the flash. Alistar is going to walk back. That pops the Seraphs. And both teams going insanely low there. Using that Cloud Soul, though, just so fast. I mean, you saw Orianna popped Ghost there. And Cloud Soul just sped Victor way out of range. So, I mean, that is going to be Ghost ult out of Orianna, but that is Flash ult out of Victor. Especially going for this fight. Both chipped pretty evenly. So now Orianna has to take it back. You're going to shove this wave in because you know you have Valpo at least coming down to cover. You have a 4-man bot side here. They're going to use this Baron to take this wave. And now Valpo's opened up all the way to tier 3s, both mid and bot side. So they're going to back with this Baron here. Just take a little bit of a team back. Everybody press B at once. But
Yeah.
now, nothing else going on. Yeah, I go back to slamming my head on the desk and watching us farm waves.
Someone hit a blast cone.
Woo!
Woo!
Good auto attack, Alistar. Way to go.
Yeah, he didn't miss. He didn't miss.
Woohoo! No, yeah. I mean, hey, I feel like this is how casting like the LCK is.
Didn't it get to the point where people started cheering when wards would die?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
That's-
can relate in this moment.
Yeah. This is like casting the LCK, but you don't get to watch Faker.
Yeah.
Instead, you get to watch Jakimbo, which is, you know, he's arguably Faker. He's Faker of our.
He's
league.
our faker.
Exactly. He's the Faker in our hearts.
Yeah.
That's all we need. But no, we're just kind of chilling now. Baron buff does time out now, so Valpo losing a little bit of pressure. But if we did have the Red Bull Baron power play, graphic pop up, you would see that was about a 3k, 4k gold lead that they gained just off of that Baron there. So overall, really, really good is what you're looking for. They're going to try and take this top wave. They're going to have to shove this wave in first, though. You have a ton of pressure, but I think Bethel's just going to try and catch for it. Not going to let them. Yep,
Zaya's
there's
getting into a
couple of
suspicious
shots.
position.
Oh yeah, there's the stun from Tarek as well. Zaya walks up just so fast in the engage. Here comes Snacky as well, jumping in. They're going to shove this wave. That's a pick on J4. And now Valpo is free to just try and
Snacky
hit
ults.
this.
And
We have a client bug, excuse us. Trying to hop back in, there we go. They will take tower. Valpo now just walking around the side. You have to be careful, get a little bit more of an angle, but now you have the bot lane pushed, you have the top lane pushed. All tier 3s are open. I think Valpo's just in a really good spot to finish this off. This awesome. Have to be careful. Excuse me.
you're making me yawn.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to here. But no, we're sitting in cloud, so look at this vision clear. Hell yeah.
Woo, that's what it's all about.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what it's all about for me, at least, when I play
Yeah,
sport. Yeah,
no,
that's
you're the
literally, this is
support
it right
player
here.
This
Yeah.
is what I'm talking about, but now I mean,
It's riveting stuff, yeah?
Yeah,
You always got
this
something
is
to do
what
like
I'm
it.
talking about. You have to be careful though. Ornn walking this top side. Sivir is clearing these waves. We are gonna take a little peek at the goal. I mean, we're up 3k on the ADC, 1k on the mid lane, 1k in top, 1k in jungle, 1k in support, and Valpo's just gonna start this Baron up now. I mean, I think Bethel can't even control this. You have this up, you have Elder Dragon next. I think if you want to just let them take Elder Dragon and just go end the game, I think you can do that too. You have
It
definitely
is an
fast
option,
enough speed. Yeah,
for sure.
I think that's definitely the
You
call.
know, this would be a whole other ball game if Sivir had reached her 300
True,
minion power
yeah.
spike.
She was only 15 off. That's so sad. We might see it though. Like one stray Q could clear a couple of minions here.
No, I think it isn't meant to be, you know? That was their win
Yeah.
con and they just couldn't
Yeah.
get there.
It's so sad. I mean, they're gonna take this tower. Valpo, so much damage. There's a catfish from the backside. Zaya does get hit with it. Gonna ult there. Here comes the ult from Tarek as well. Goes invulnerable. I mean, there's just so much damage that you can't do. Zaya picks up 1. Zaya picks up 2. Victor picks up 1. And Bethel is going down now. The tower is going to be finished, although you are insanely low on the side of Valpo. There's the flash in from Orianna, picks up the kill on Snacky. It's kind of up to Valpo to just hit these waves. You're waiting on Tarek heal. Tarek heal's got to be enough. You do so much damage. Now Zaya is full health. I think you just have to
They
try
can
and walk
end,
up.
yeah.
You just have to walk up and hit. There's the flash in from Jakimbo though, and gets the E off, and that's going to kill Orianna, and that's going to kill the Nexus as well.
And that's
that is going
game.
to be a quick 2-0 for Valpo against this Bethel team, especially on our Halloween cast. It's a great feeling to have, although we were having a little bit of a slow day on the very end of that cast. We at least had a little bit of fun at the end. Valpo, couple of rough fights, but still going in our favor, right? Being able to play around that Tarek, I feel like had a huge impact. You saw in the last fight, Zaya ulted, and then Tarek ulted, and then stopwatched. So for like a good 10 seconds, she was just invulnerable. So it's, like I said, it's kind of like a raid boss to try and kill this Zaya. But I mean, you have any last thoughts on this series?
Well, it went pretty good because we won.
Yep. That's really all you need to say. So, I mean, that is going to be it for us in the booth. Thank you guys for all watching. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, the follows. Thank you for all the support, and go Valpo.